Hello and welcome back to one of our mini training sessions on Workbooks CRM aimed at existing Workbooks users or indeed anyone seriously looking at Workbooks as a new CRM system. And in this one, we're going to cover the Web to Lead feature, Web TO or number 2 as it used to be called, Web to Lead feature to help streamline your sales lead process. Let me start by just giving a brief explanation. Stuart is very surely going to go into more detail, but what to web to lead actually is. Simply put, it's a built-in feature of Workbooks that automatically captures information from a website contact form and then instantly creates that as a new lead. Hopefully you'll be familiar with the concept of a lead in Workbooks or a CRM system. So think of it as like building a direct bridge between your website visitors and your sales pipeline. But why is that important for you? Well, imagine the scenario: potential customer visits your website, a new inquiry, fills in your inquiry form. Without Web to Lead, then someone would have to manually enter information, presumably from an email. Lots of copying and pasting, takes time, could be some data entry errors, and that could actually delay the response to the prospect. Maybe it could even be forgotten about totally. But with Web to Lead, the moment that someone submits that form, their information is directly in your Workbooks database as a new lead, and then your sales team can immediately begin following it up, and nothing's going to fall through the cracks. Plus, you're going to maintain a clean, accurate data without any sort of manual intervention. And any lead coming from your website is going to go in as that lead source. So if you're spending a lot of money on your website, then isn't it a good idea to make sure that you're getting some kind of ROI information on how many leads you're getting from that source? So in this session, then we're going to take a deeper dive into the Web to Lead feature. Really relevant if you've got, well, most people will have a contact form on their website. And if that form is an important source of new inquiries for your organization or business. So hello, my name is Tim Wilmot, joined by my colleague Stuart Lawrence. I'll pass over to him very shortly. Our company, Wizard Systems, we're a leading independent CRM solutions provider of systems like Workbooks, and we help out organizations use simple solutions to improve their sales, marketing, and customer service productivity. So thanks, those of you joining us live, or if you're watching a recording of this, our mini session. We normally run them most weeks, focusing on different topics around Workbooks, and saying this one we're going to cover Web to Lead. Now, the audio part of the presentation is one way only. If you've got a question, pop that into the questions section on your meeting control panel, probably lurking in the top right corner of your screen, and Stuart and I would do our best to answer that at the end. Okay, I will now pass over to Stuart.
So, as Tim mentioned, we're all aware of the contact form on a website. Most of us have them, and if you don't, why not? But in most cases, it just generates an email sent to one or many users. They then deal with the task of copying the data from an email into the CRM and contacting that lead. And it just opens up the process to things being missed and to errors. Has to be an easier way to get the lead from your website into Workbooks, and there is Web to Leads. Now I'm going to use the same process as the email idea that we just mentioned. So to begin with, we need to know who's going to be told that a new lead has been created. And to do this in Workbooks, we use queues. And as we're dealing with leads, I'm on a lead record, and to the left-hand side, you can see queues. And here are the queues. And I've already got one here, called it Website Leads. It's ready to go. I can just take a deeper look here at Website Leads. And 3 users, and they'll be told when something happens like a new lead is created. Now, if you'd like to know more about Queues, then sign up to the next 101, as we're going to take a closer look at them. But for now, I've got a queue that I can use. So the next thing to do is to create the form that we're going to use. And to do that, we're going to configuration, into web integrations, and web to leads. And you just click on the new sales key. I've got one here already. I can quickly open it to show you. And it's just a case of assigning it to the queue. There's the queue that I created. Now I've assigned this form to automation. Now, the reason that I've assigned it to automation is, for whatever reason my user account is removed from the CRM, the form will still work. So it's worth thinking about this automation user when it comes to things like this. So I'm happy with this. I can click on save to save that form. Now, once I do that, the form is then generated. You'll see the form button here. So if we open the form, this is what it creates. Right. Needs a bit of tidying up. As you can see, Workbooks doesn't know what you want to do. So it creates a very simple HTML form with every single field from your lead record. Now, I can leave it like this, but it would be much better to give it to someone to tidy it up, someone who knows HTML to tidy it up, because I only want maybe 5, 10 of these fields to be in my capture form on the website. I don't want to frighten somebody when they see sort of 20 or 30 fields to fill in. So once you've given it to someone to tidy up, hopefully it looks something like that. So a little bit cleaner. So it's a nice clean form. And one of the clever things about this is this form is live. It's not on my website, but I can test it. You see, I've filled in some fields here. If I click submit, the form is activated. The submission was successful and a lead has been created. Now it's telling web developers that I should create some follow-on pages. Either go to my thank you for signing up, or maybe just back to the home page. So has this worked? And there it is, straight away. I'm in the queue, I get notified. And there's the form. That's the person we just created. And it's ready. It saved me, the user, the time and effort of copying and pasting that information into a new lead. I know where this lead came from. There's an online tab that tells me straight away that this lead was generated from a web form submission. So it helps track us where the leads are coming from. Remember, we don't have to put this form onto a website. We've seen this idea used on a tablet that was at a stand that an event was taking place, and it asked people if they'd like more details about a particular product. The visitor completed the details and they get a message saying thank you, and they actually got an automated response from a Workbook CRM thanking them for their interest, and it created a call in the sales queue for someone to contact that person in a day or so. I'll not dive too deep into that, but again, automation can build on this simple form that the visitor has created. That's it. It's one of the most powerful but simple features of Workbooks. I'll leave it there and hand things back to Tim.
Thanks very much, Stuart. So as you can see, really easy to use, built into Workbooks, fully integrated with Workbooks, such that it's a really nice way of streamline that lead process. So if you are getting inquiries from your website, from a web form, you really must implement this solution. And also Stuart mentioning queues as well. We'll handle that hopefully this time next week as a sort of lead on, a follow on from that, the queue feature in Workbooks. Yeah, and a great idea for using it when you're remote from the office, if you're doing exhibitions or something like that, making sure that at that point of source, you're getting those inquiries directly into your CRM database and start working on them. All right, we'll dive into questions very shortly, but just a brief mention, a little bit more mention about Wizard Systems. All we do is CRM. We do provide a number of different CRM solutions, not just Workbooks. As regards Workbooks, we provide a one-stop shop for everything that you need as regards Workbooks, the implementation of the product, integration with other applications, training as well, at your place, our place, or online, and the ongoing help desk support as well. Okay, so Stuart, we've got some questions coming through. First one from Ella. Let me just read this out. It's quite a long one, this one. Can we customize which fields from our web form map to specific fields in workbooks? For example, if our form has got an industry drop-down menu, can we ensure that maps directly to the industry field in our CRM?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I should have probably gone into that in a bit of detail. When you create the web to lead form and open it up for the first time, it creates it with every field that's in your lead record, and that includes any drop downs. So if you've got industries or countries, all of that information goes with the form. So when you give it to your HTML person and they tidy it up, they don't need to build any drop downs. They're already there in the code, ready to be used.
Okay. Malik is asking, what happens if someone submits the same contact information twice through our web form? Will this create duplicate leads in workbooks, or does the system have a way to detect and prevent duplicates?
All right. Well, the process of the web to lead uses the email address to see if there is a match. If there's no match, it creates a new lead. If there is a match, it will create an online activity with the details of what was entered into the form against that record. So you'll have a record that this person has used the form to contact the site.
Okay. Mackenzie, can you make a field on the form that is required but not required in workbooks? So mandatory on the form, but not mandatory in workbooks.
Yes, it's not something you do in workbooks. If you don't want to make a field mandatory, you don't have to. But if you want to, as I said, you want to make it on the form, you'd need to do this using HTML, and you edit the HTML and add a value called class equals required to the end of the field that you want. Now, it sounds tricky, it's not, but someone that knows HTML will be able to do that for you.
Okay, question 4, Katie. Hi, I've just started the onboarding process for Force 24. Force 24, by the way, for everyone, is the new marketing campaign application integrated with workbooks. So Force 24. Force 24 will have its own lead scoring function, including web visits. Presumably, I should only use one web to lead function. Well, I would guess yes. What do you think about that, Stuart?
No, I would absolutely agree. Yeah, if you want your one point of entry, now you can use the web to lead for different things. We mentioned about having it on a stand, on a tablet. People just sign in. But when you create the form, it's the form's name that controls it and the queue that decides where it goes. It will still go into a lead record, but you would have analysis of where it came from. Did it come from a site visit? Did it come from the website? So you'd have a bit more, but generally, one would be a good start.
Yeah. So we will handle Force 24 in another Workbooks 101, but it's an alternative to the existing Gator Spotler family of products integrate with workbooks. Right, next question from Laura. That's a good one. We get a lot of fake inquiries, but everyone does on our website. Can they be filtered? Can they be filtered out?
Not through the basic web to lead form. It's just a capture form. But what I would suggest, and again, you'll see it on lots of websites now, is I would use a human capture interaction. You see them where you've got to pick a picture, or you've got to select a number, or at least tick a box to prove that you are human. So at least it's a great way of stopping bots or automation from getting into your site.
Yeah, so it just needs thinking through. So there might be things at the source that you could implement there to prevent that. But I guess it depends on what the nature of these fake inquiries are. But yeah, then there might be some sneaky things you can do in Workbooks to make sure that when it gets routed to that queue, it is a sort of valid lead. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions to it. So 5 very good questions there. Thanks very much indeed for those. Appreciate that. Right, let me wrap things up. So we are currently on Workbook 7.3. Do you fancy attending our advanced training course coming up shortly? Contact us for details. We'll take you to another level of knowledge with Workbooks. And have you got any topics for future suggestions? As Stuart said, we fingers crossed, we plan to do Workbooks queues in Workbooks. We're used to queuing in the UK, so we'll cover that next week, and stay tuned for that and the invite. Thanks very much for attending, those of you on here live. There's our contact details. We'll catch up with you, hopefully same time next week for another Workbooks topic. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.